Hello, hello everyone. My name's Dave Allen. This is my studio. I'm going to talk about some art. Today I've got a really special guest. My studio mate Fred is here. He does a process called monoprinting, and he uses slip to create prints on ceramic forms and then fires them in very specific ways to achieve different looks and textures on his work. So Fred happens to be in the studio, and we're going to ask him some questions about his process. And it should be pretty exciting, so stick around.
Very good shoot.
Hey Fred, what are you doing over here anyway?
So I'm getting ready to do what I call basically a monoprint onto clay. And this is the original image that I'm printing from a Photoshop file. And I go very carefully, and I almost, it's almost like I'm gonna almost tap the paint in around the image, and where the print is, you can see that it'll start to resist the slip because of the waxiness of the ink. My slab of clay ready. While it's still a little bit wet, I'm going to take my image that I painted the slip on, and I'm just going to set it on top here very carefully in position. This dried a little bit, so I'm going to very carefully fold it over, and then I'm going to use this soft rib that's really flexible to just rub it into the clay very slightly. And then I'm going to use a wet sponge and just moisten the back of the paper a little bit. And the area that I painted is what's going to create the image onto the clay. So I'm just going to rub that down onto the clay so I get it nice and smooth. And it gives the wet clay will absorb that slip to create the image, and you'll see once this is ready, when I pull the paper up, the image will be on the clay. But you can see how now the image is transferred onto the clay. And this paper just goes in the trash, and then you very slowly take. And then once I have it in the right position, I basically take it to the edge of the table, and I tap it on each side, and it slumps into, let me get this one again, and it slumps and forms that sort of bowl plate.
So this is Fred's finished monoprint in slip as the clay dries in the mold. And he'll go back in and trim this edge as it dries a little bit more. But then he'll let it dry very slowly and fire it in a big kiln, and hopefully eventually someday it'll look like this one that he made. And it's beautiful. So that's today's piece. Big thanks to my studio mate Fred for showing us his process and sharing a little bit of his monoprinting techniques with slip on clay. And also big thanks to all those inspiring people that are doing creative stuff in these hard times. Use your imagination. Stay creative, everyone.